Hello and welcome back to the Championship Qualifier, where FlyQuest or Evil Geniuses will join Cloud9 for a shot at the 2020 LCS Spring title, and EG bounced back in a big way in Game 3. FlyQuest was taking it to him in Game 1 and 2, and EG brought it to a 1-2 scoreline.
They looked really, really good in Game 3 compared to especially Games 1 and 2, where they had really been struggling. This time, they were gifted a little bit of an advantage around that mid lane. Jiizuke made the most of his opponent's errors, and they were able to snowball the game incredibly well. But you've got to say, they just look like a completely different squad when Svenskeren has the ability to make things happen. When he is on picks that allow him to engage, that allow him to be proactive, and that is something that we did not get to see him playing in Games 1 or 2. He was more about the farming, the team fighting. It may have been good individual matchups in the jungle, but it just feels like how FlyQuest depend on IgNar to start fights, EG depend on Svenskeren. And that is why having him on the Gragas, the Lee Sin, these types of picks that can be the ones that are proactively starting fights and catching opponents when they're stepping too far forward is so important.
I'm curious what this draft looks like now that we have swapped sides. It feels like these teams have started to really key in on what is important. Like a Gragas ban would not surprise me here. I think FlyQuest just need to realize that that is ban 3 on this composition. Yes, LeBlanc gets banned away from Jiizuke. Yes, they are the ones banning Senna away from Bang every single game. But I think Gragas is on that tier personally. They say, no, It's actually more important that Zeyzal cannot play Tahm Kench. And maybe they can test the Gragas. We will see. Keep in mind, last game, EG banned the Blitzcrank. Certainly, we saw that there was not a lot of power from the Pyke in that game. That said, obviously mid lane was so volatile there wasn't a lot else to look at, but they say no. Set first pick is still the most important thing. So red team is banning Set every single game, and Aphelios is claimed by FlyQuest.
So what I've got to say about this Tahm Kench ban, there's always the thought process: do you emphasize your own strengths or do you attack, essentially your opponent's strengths, right? And here, when I was talking about Svenskeren and IgNar as these two key engagers, well, guess what? IgNar is the key engage member for FlyQuest. What shuts that down? Well, Tahm Kench does. He wasn't able to do almost anything with that Pyke in the last game because of Tahm Kench, because of the ability to just devour up and be this get out of jail free card for Bang. So by denying that, they're opening up the opportunity for IgNar to pick something that is going to affect the game, to get aggressive, and to enable his playstyle. You may end up giving up Gragas as a result of that, but that's, to me, FlyQuest showing confidence in their own strengths, saying that, hey, great, you play your best, we play our best, we're gonna win.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch for. We'll see if this does come through in the very end. Misfortune Ornn is going to be the EG pickup. They have constantly picked, it looks like, for team fighting in these drafts overall. We had the Kalista Tarot games, for example. This is Misfortune plus Ornn. Of course, we know Ornn has great engage tools. Kumo should be comfortable here. And we'll be able to hit R. I'm hoping he can line those up. He had some very, very bad misses back in the first game. We have, again, this Trundle picked into Ornn for strong frontline. We, again, have the Aatrox into Ornn so that Solo can feel comfortable. FlyQuest have a lot of strong things. I'm curious what IgNar will play. EG is a Gragas time.
I think it should be. I think it should for sure be Gragas time. You've got to go to your own strengths. You can't just try to allow your opponents to dictate the draft based off what they are picking all the time. And you've got to play your own game. And I do think that this is EG playing their game. This is Kumo on something that does not need attention, that is going to have relevance in the team fight. This is Svenskeren on a playmaker. This is Bang on a strong team fight marksman. This is them playing their game. And likewise, I do think for FlyQuest, Santorin is less about the engage and more about controlling and tracking his opponent. Trundle can duel Gragas. Trundle will have a great amount of power come teamfight time by reducing the power of Kumo on the Ornn and also increasing his own tankiness. So I do think that this is the most kind of intelligent and evenly matched draft, it feels like, of the series thus far, going back and forth.
Okay, well, both teams have comps that they like so far. We'll see how the rest of it plays out. For those of you watching on ESPN, we are heading to commercial break. We will see you when the game starts. For those of you online, stay tuned.
All right, so more targeting towards IgNar, take away the blitz. The Rakan is already gone. If they really want to focus on him, they could even ban out the Pyke. But I do think you may want to throw something PowerOfEvil's way if you are worried about a pick like Victor. If you don't think that you have an answer, or if that's too safe of a farmer, then you can go towards things like that. Their concern is the Kassadin, and that's actually the second Kassadin ban that PoE has drawn so far. I would be shocked if PowerOfEvil were willing to go towards a blind Kassadin, so maybe this is signifying that they're not actually saving that mid lane pick for last, but that doesn't really make sense to me. So this Kassadin ban is a head scratcher for me. It's like, do you really have nothing you're willing to play into it? Because generally speaking, there are a lot of bad matchups for Kassadin. You already have a strong early ganking jungler in the Gragas. So
it's because they want to steal mid.
Yeah.
They want to steal mid like this Azir, right? It's what they did in the previous game where they said, okay, we can't get rid of all your team fight mids. Azir is good for us. We know you can counter pick with Kassadin. If Jiizuke doesn't have Kassadin ready himself, that means they're not willing to play the other side of the matchup. So once again, early Azir, they'll save support for last. But there is a chance they really want to flex Gragas or Ornn into support, and that's also part of it. End of the day, they grab this, and we'll see support last.
I think it's Gragas in jungle 100%. I know there's a possibility, but to me, this is just about counterpicking for the 2v2, and then it's saying, did you get enough out of it? Because it's just going to be Corki Azir, or Azir versus Victor, or some sort of farm matchup. And yeah, Jiizuke slammed him last game in that, but I don't think you can depend on that. PowerOfEvil is such a stable mid laner. It is exceptionally rare to see him go down like he did in the last game. And it's just interesting because you're kind of putting yourself in a situation for EG where are you getting the most out of red side? Red side is about having advantageous lane matchups. To me, do they have really any? I guess it depends on the support pick, right? And if you go for that support pick, can you win 2v2 through that? Because top lane is a losing matchup. I do think that mid lane is just a farm matchup, and bot lane remains to be seen. So it's kind of like, I'm always disappointed when I see teams go red side and not get winning matchups. And that's my real concern, I guess, for this EG draft. But I still do think that they have really strong team fight.
Right. At the end of the day, I still like where this draft ended up. I realize, and I agree with you, that so often the red side goal is to get good counterpicks and get winning lanes, but I like the EG comp a lot more, at least personally. FlyQuest have a great front line. They have a great double marksman back line, but they don't have good teamfight engage outside of Aatrox flanks and Trundle pillars, which are pretty weak terms overall, and that allowed them to get a Yuumi into the draft, right? This is an unpunishable bot lane, and MF Yuumi should have a ton of pressure down there. I expect Svenskeren to have a ton of pressure in this game overall, and again, yeah, I'm not expecting Jiizuke solo kill at level 5, right? Like what happened in the last game, but I still like where this draft ended up. Welcome back, of course, to our ESPN viewers as the drafts are done and we're getting ready to start. This seems likely to go to game 5 for me just based on draft.
I do think EG has the better draft. I like it a lot. And yeah, I mean, maybe it's a smart read because you're playing against PoE and you're saying, okay, well, I can pick Azir and you're not going to go crazy. You're just going to go to farm it too. And that may be a read more about the team and less something that they feel can be punished there. And anytime you're playing Yuumi into something that cannot all in really, really heavily, such as the Braum, you're going to be feeling really good about it. So they may have gotten enough out of this bot lane last pick with that Yuumi, and that I think is going to be a really big focal point of the game. Heal exhaust will be taken by the Yuumi, so Bang can even play cleanse, so he doesn't have to worry as much about any potential, Braum stun or root from Aphelios, and that is going to give him some freedom to kite more easily. He's also very likely taking Nimbus Cloak, which will help him out in the team fights to kite some of these melee champions like the Trundle and like the Aatrox.
I do want to point out, of course, we are still on 10.6 throughout the entirety of playoffs, so those most recent Aphelios nerfs not on board here, which did nerf his early game a fair bit. So he's still going to have a decent enough laning phase, but I think you're hard-pressed to find a winning matchup here against MF Yuumi, so I do want to see what EG can do down here. We've got a late invade coming through for FlyQuest. Here comes the sweeper out for Santorin, and it's actually not going to spot the ward. I love that ward placement. Knowing why the sweeper is going to be, Santorin doesn't know they saw this. They won't get the gold or XP either, and it will allow EG to make good choices with their early pathing.
But do they even have a really good response to it, right? Because this blue buff is gone. And either way, I agree. Intelligent ward, great to have that information, even if it's only just a crap. But at least you know what's going on, and we'll see where Svenskeren can go. But Gragas starting leashless on his red buff is going to be a lot more slow. He is going to be going over towards his opponent's blue buff, and then it kind of becomes how much can you take out of your opponent's jungle, right? Does Trundle do a full clear on this quadrant? Because clearly they want to split the map. They want Gragas to be stuck playing up on that top side where he could get attacked by this Aatrox, and he's actually looking for a level 2 gank that was spotted by a ward. So Solo can just kind of play very far back.
Yeah, he's first to level 2 as well with the wave pushed in, waits for more minion. Now he has the dash. With the dash up, you're not realistically getting that gank off. Kumo doesn't have the gank follow-up. and Svenskeren is at least able to trade buffs back, so they will have equal buff counts, but the question is, the rest of the camps could be really bad. Santorin's already got 3 done, and wow, yeah, he can't, but he can at least fight solo, but chooses not to, as Corki and Trundle are gonna be there first. So this early jungle pathing, yeah, seen by a ward, who cares? FlyQuest cleanly up 2 camps on Santorin. That is an amazing start.
FlyQuest's ward just meant way more. The fact that he, after getting pushed off, you know, he's losing his quadrant on the bottom side of all those jungle camps, and he gets spotted not just rushing for a trade of buffs, he gets spotted trying to do a level 2 gank that is a low percentage play against this Aatrox with a level 1 Ornn on your team. And that allowed them enough time to not only take every single camp from his side, but to not even lose a single camp from his own. So, you know, Santorin is going to be 3 camps ahead at the end of the day because there's nothing for Svenskeren to even farm. Yes, smite.
Gonna be a rough one there. Has to smite this one away. Grabs that one. Knocked up. It's gonna be damaged, but there's not really any more follow through. And realistically, you can recall whenever you want on Trundle, and I mean, he can sustain as well, don't get me wrong. It's not gonna really hurt him very much. Kumo's able to shove the wave in, but Solo's gonna be up a little bit of farm. He's gonna be +4 as the wave resets. Bot lane is +5 for Bang, so that's actually, you know, is going quite well. It's actually a pretty solid one. I will, you know, we'll wait to see what else comes out of this one, but not a bad start down to the bottom lane. Mid also going to Jiizuke's way. He's up about a wave of farm as well, so at least the various bottom side lanes are nice. The ones that they kind of pick the Yuumi for, they rush the Azir pick for, but Svenskeren...
He's level 2, man.
Svenskeren's really supposed to catch up. I know, it's rough.
I mean, he does obviously hit it off that, but you can hit level 3 like well before 3 minutes, right? So that is one of the things you can hit it like just a little bit past 2 minutes on some champions. And he will have some catch up to do. Santorin also gets to have the later refresh on his red buff. He just now picked that up. So he's kind of battle ready here and level 4. And Pillar may force a flash.
Here comes the play. He dodges the slow, but the Pillar is going to do the same. He's got to get away. The cleanse comes out. He's supposed to burn the flash. Why not just flash away over the Pillar? Has to lose both summoners. A repeat gank could go well.
Yeah, not well thought through there by Bang. I think it was pretty obvious that you had to flash as soon as Santorin actually gets up. Obviously thought he could maybe outplay it or really make something else happen there, but you know, when you cleanse in that situation, sure, you remove the root, but you're still slowed by the Pillar with 3 members stacked on top of you hitting you, so of course you have to flash, right? And as you say, does open up the opportunity for potentially an easy repeat gank. And here comes Santorin.
Okay, the flash forward for Trundle to get the root. There is no way out for Bang. It's impossible to live from this point onwards. They make sure the kill goes over, and first blood comes to WildTurtle.
And that is that 2v2 that they drafted for. That is your bottom lane counter pick getting killed early on in the game. A great start from FlyQuest. They had the really intelligent invade that wasn't able to be answered. Svenskeren has a failed level 2 gank, meaning Santorin is put way ahead, and he utilizes that time to gank bottom lane twice, getting his bot lane 2v2 first blood in what is supposed to be this losing matchup in what was the red side 5th pick for EG. That is supposed to be their big pressure lane, and it is losing.
Yeah, oh my gosh, Bang had burned both summoners, so it's just easy flash auto root. That is a guaranteed kill every time without summoners up.
I just don't think he could have got out without flash anyway, but it would have been closer at least. Maybe if you have cleanse there, you can make him work for it a bit more, but you know, when you're pushing in that heavily and you don't have river wards, the Trundle gank becomes very threatening. Trundle is not scary if you are back near your turret, but when you are very far up, all of a sudden the Pillar becomes a really big deal for any type of champion that doesn't have a dash to easily escape over it, and MF is obviously in that group.
Yeah, well, end of the day, we've got Solo now roaming into the mid lane. Jiizuke is level 6, but so is PowerOfEvil. He gets spotted very briefly. I think they saw him. I think they just saw that he was there. Yeah, there's the ping. You can see it on the minimap. They know Solo walked down. End of the day, it's not going to mean too much, but he had the time. He shoved in the wave. He's, you know, looked for the play. He doesn't find it, but it's not a big deal. FlyQuest up about 500 gold as a squad. I will say First Blood is worth 600 gold when it's assisted, so EG are still farming pretty well. Svenskeren's doing his best to keep up, but he's, of course, sadly still just remaining down a level. We're going to have Jiizuke get handed over this blue buff, and we'll see if EG can lick their wounds well enough. I still like their team fighting. The question is, we're going to have another 4,000 gold difference early game. That Pillar is great. Bang just cannot get away. They go back to the source, and yet again they find that kill. Zeyzal's able to walk away, but they're just not earning gold on this misfortune.
They're just getting blasted in this bot lane by these ganks. The Trundle ganks have been so effective, and the fact that they put Svenskeren this far behind kind of just means that he is stuck farming it out. He is stuck trying to catch up in experience, and he's still down 2 levels. He may hit 5 off of this. We'll see. No, he's still down well over a level, as Santorin is already 6, head in farm, ahead in impact, and this is really all thanks to that great invade and the failed level 2 gank that got spotted for Svenskeren has put them so far behind, and it kind of allows Santorin to just gank at will. He can just do it as much as he wants because he knows even if Gragas shows up, who cares? Gragas is so weak.
He really is, but he's trying for his red buff. We've got Kumo nearby as well, but this is an easy fight that FlyQuest could win. Kumo has to flash away, but Santorin still wants it. The flash knock won't land for Solo, so that one does a little bit of nothing, but it's still a low health bar on Kumo. Red is claimed. Svenskeren's able to grab his Krugs as well. That invade went a little bad. It's more ults burn, more flashes burn, nothing special gained.
That was too much from FlyQuest, and it didn't seem like they were on the same page because Santorin flashed over. Solo would have needed to instantly be Q flashing at the same time as Kumo went over for that to actually have a chance of working, because then if you hit that knockup, that could happen, right? You could get that kill. But why not just take the guarantee of Kumo flashed over the wall and then go attack Svenskeren? Push him out of the jungle. Take those 2 camps away. That is a guaranteed advantage. That would be a summoner for nothing and 2 camps for pretty much nothing. Instead, they don't get much.
Ooh, big damage. Bang, though, is not level 6. Bullet time could have meant so much damage there, but Turtle survives a 2v1, including Zeyzal's ulti, but there's not enough damage to kill him. It's a Coldfield's Warhammer. There's just not enough damage for MF, and Turtle's back to full HP already.
Turtle with the Healy gun ultimate. Pretty nice in those types of situations where you just gotta survive. You are able to get a big chunk of healing with that red gun, popping the ult, surviving that pretty comfortably. Still has the heal available here too, and as you said, gonna go right back to full, sitting comfortably in a position where IgNar can even roam away from it and it's not going to look too bad. And Jiizuke is doing fine in mid lane here. He's up about a wave, which is very nice, all things considered, but FlyQuest have just got the run of the map, and we'll see, can Svenskeren, now that he's finally level 6 and catching up in farm and experience here, can he make something happen? Because it feels like this first ultimate, this first real attack from Svenskeren is going to be critically important for the pace of the game.
All right, well, PoE and Jiizuke kind of trade blows for a second. FlyQuest again able to easily get back to the mid lane, and it feels like mid is being pushed a bit more by the Corki than by the Azir. Farm lead, though, still going Jiizuke's way. That's going to feel comfortable, and overall the game state is 1,500 gold apart. That's a solid lead, not one you can't come back from, and I'm curious, though, where the points of power can come from. Where can EG kind of stage their comeback? Because top lane's getting worse and worse. It's almost a 20 CS difference. Jungle has caught up. Credit to Svenskeren for that one. But now it's all about bot difference. You know, you counterpick the Yuumi. The ganks went the other way around, though, and WildTurtle has all the control.
And you've also got to take into consideration the fact that the reason Svenskeren caught up is because Santorin took Rift. So while he was actually getting the Rift, Svenskeren was farming, and also that overcommit for the kill, as Bang should be able to walk out of this one. But now Santorin gets the opportunity to make good on that Rift Herald take and try to get a lot of gold for his team, which, you know, could really extend that gold lead quite a lot.
Yeah, seeing it go around on either side of the map, saying, okay, bot lane is taking some damage, 1 plate's down there, top lane's already lost 2. If you want to invest in solo, they've done it before, they could do it again. Svenskaren's going to clean that one out without too much issue. Second Drake coming down quickly on. I gotta point out that FlyQuest, when they get the early leads, they have put a lot of pressure towards the Drakes very early on. Drakes have been alive for a total of 1 minute and 20 seconds this game, across both, you know, added up together. So that's going to look really comfortable. Bot lane under a bit of fire. It looks like we're going to have another plate drop down there, and the early Herald summon. So this is going to be a lot of gold picked up. As long as Turtle can stay remotely close by, he's tagged the turret. He's well within range of the charge to give him some more money, and there's money picked up. Plate number 4 is 2 autos away. Might not pick it up right away, but he'll get it soon.
It did look like only Santorin got gold. I didn't see any gold actually fly out to Turtle, which is a little bit interesting, but
I thought he got it. Looked like it to me.
Okay, I could have just missed it. Either way, not a big deal. They did receive the gold as a team. They are 2,000 gold up ahead, as you say, and 2 dragons to 0, so stacking towards that soul. I do like to focus on objectives from FlyQuest. This is something that they're very consistent with, something that they're very strong at doing, where if you make mistakes, they're going to punish, they're going to take incremental advantages and work to extend that throughout the game. And EG has put themselves in a bit of a hole here, largely due to the jungle matchup and how well Santorin has been able to kind of exploit that, in combination with the fact that Solo and PoE were able to help push Svenskeren off of his own quadrant once Svenskeren failed that gank. So they're in a great spot, and I think they're going to be pretty comfortable moving forward, but they have to still continue to pressure EG and continue to extend these leads, because it is Azir and Ornn and MF Yuumi. These are all champions that scale incredibly well.
Look for the scaling difference if it can happen then, as Solo going to take down much of the Krugs, go for a fight on Svenskeren, lands the W, but a body slam gets him back away. Kumo can trade a bit of health back, but not sure it's going to go too great. They might try though. Solo is flashless, still for a little bit of time, and Kumo's running low on health. Explosive cast, builds some space, Santorin walks in for some damage. Not sure he quite has lethal damage, but still gets a really big chunk down. Kumo might have to burn his teleport to get back to lane, and now PowerOfEvil is here. This is the tower dive. Kumo is going to drop. You have to believe he's going to get killed off, and nowhere to Svenskeren to go either. That is 2 kills picked up on a tower dive, and beautifully played by FlyQuest, looking to knock down this series.
They're going to be able to grab plates on top side here too, and look at PowerOfEvil's build. He rushed a mob. I cannot remember the last time I've seen that, but Kumo here, when he whiffs on this charge, he is stuck in there. He goes in, he doesn't get the knockup on Solo, so they can't even look to fight. Santorin comes over the wall. They had no idea he was in the area, so he doesn't have his escape to actually searing charge out. You can see his flash just now coming up, but Kumo has no mana, and there's no real way to actually defend this with no ultimate on Svenskeren, no mana on Kumo. PowerOfEvil, Solo, and Santorin able to grab those kills for themselves and put them up nearly 4,000 gold.
Yep, we're back to another 15-minute game state where it's almost an insurmountable lead. These early games have determined everything so far in this series, and jungle difference in the early game, Santorin out-farmed Sven, he out-ganked Sven. It turned a rough bot lane matchup into a winning one where WildTurtle and IgNar can push with impunity, given some gold from the Herald summon, of course, as well, and then the advantage moved top side. That dive got him 2 more kills. It's going to require some heroics again from EG to get stuff done. But if there is a comp that can come back, it is more of this one. It's certainly a FlyQuest lead, but this is maybe the makings of a game that can be a comeback.
And it's not one of those situations like in Game 2 where your way to win is, I sure hope they fight into me and lose, because you actually have engage, right? You have Gragas who can look for a body slam flash and get a pick. You have Jiizuke who can go forward and maybe shuffle someone in, or Kumo who can find an ult to start things off. So EG does have the ability to get picks. It's going to be very hard at this big disadvantage with your opponent stacking dragons as well as they are, but there are ways to get back in. There are ways to claw your way slowly back into this game.
Top lane fight yet again. Kumo gets away from the knockups, jumps backwards. Nice knockup there for Sula. Gets the auto and gets the pullback. That's full combo. Down to 1,000 health left on Kumo, and that might be enough to set up a dive. You can see Trundle and Corki actually are stopping to only take Rift Herald. They are not going any farther up to the top lane. It won't be a dive. Svenskeren's top side anyway. We have retained this level lead though. Santorin is still +1 level over Svenskeren. He is back to being up about 5 camps worth of farm. Second Herald claimed, ready to come down and knock something else down on the map, as mid lane may well be the target. It's very healthy, but it's not too healthy if you summon a Herald into it.
They wanted to take Jiizuke out of this safe zone on the map, and that is exactly where they should drop that Herald. And EG knows it, so they're going to come and try to defend this, because you want Azir to have this bastion of safety, to have this place from which he can collect farm and scale up and maybe give you a chance in the game, because Azir really is your best chance right now. He is the only one that is not actually quite a bit behind, as Turtle is up farm and 2 kills, just got the tower gold. Top lane is losing by a lot too.
Then Svenskeren gets stunned. He's trying to run one, audible stun him again. What a pushback! Jiizuke's gonna find IgNar. PoE's next up. It's a 2-for-1 so far, and Zeyzal's now showing up. There's another knockup. Santorin is found out. 2 more autos and kill him, but they can't quite close out. Now Solo's here to be disruptive. He finds the knockup, but not the kill just yet. Still in the front line, still trying to find the CC, but it's not going to be enough, and WildTurtle can't quite get it either. There's limits of health bars left on Evil Geniuses, but they win that team fight. It's a 3-1, and it's gold in the inventory, but it's not map control, and FlyQuest are going to grab Drake number 3.
Still, EG, that could have been game over, series over for them if that fight went bad. They are able to fight back, get some kills for themselves, and maintain some hope in this series. Yes, it is now sole point, but at the very least, they have an opportunity to get to a stage where they can hope to fight at that 4th dragon and maybe turn things around. So let's watch this one more time. I do believe it was a Svenskeren ultimate that really set things up. They went in very aggressively here, and then let's track it. Yep, Gragas ult right on top of the Azir. Then the Azir shuffles them into that tower, and they're able to knock down those early kills. You can still see, though, how strong Turtle was, how strong these remaining members were, as Turtle is actually dropping turrets over the wall, allowing that to really put himself in a position where he can safely deal consistent damage, utilizing the sniper rifle and that Chakram combo. But EG limping away with such low health on multiple members, Zeyzal able to heal them through what was nearly a catastrophe. But Jiizuke now sitting on 2 items. He is actually at a pretty strong point of this game, and with the support of this Yuumi, if you can actually keep this guy alive, that's Braum, that's Trundle, that's Aatrox who are going to be charging forward, trying to engage into a Azir wall, as well as the Yuumi ultimate, which can really make things difficult to actually close that gap.
We're not too far away from Ornn upgrades either, so that's going to be a big power spike if EG can keep getting consistent XP on their top lane. There's going to be some good upgrades available. Santorin looking to pressure mid lane, but yeah, you can't really Trundle gank into Azir as long as they save the W, at least 1 charge. You summon a soldier, you dive backwards, unless there's a champion in the way, you're not getting stopped. We can watch the top laners fight yet again, and yeah, Solo lands his combos pretty nicely. Gonna look for the 3rd Q, doesn't get the knockup, but still gets some damage as they just trade their blows and created a wave clear. It's still a pretty big CS lead, almost 40 for Solo up on the top side. He can roam first, of course, if he wants to, and they're responding to the mid lane summon. That should be the turret most likely falling. IgNar gonna take the smallest bit of poke, but here comes pressure on the mid lane, and here comes the rest of the squad. EG cannot defend this. It's going to be the 3rd and final outer turret crack for FlyQuest. Kumo's crowd control does almost nothing to stop Solo. The Herald will die, but it's still a turret for nothing. Well done to FlyQuest.
Good job by them, being able to knock down that turret. As I said, it's such an important part on the map for the Azir, trying to keep him safe. And also got to give a shout out to Bang. I think the Executioners is so worth the 800 gold in this game, where you have an Aatrox who has so much self-healing, building towards Death Dance. Trundle ultimate is incredible amount of healing, and you have double marksmen here who are also going to have a decent amount of sustain from the runes. So I do think that is a smart buy, and it's easily applied by that MF ultimate across the squad. So we will see how well that is going to work out for them, because you have really good consistent damage here from the Azir. You have that healing debuff and kind of backline access with that MF ultimate, as well as some really strong engage from your jungle and your top. So there's still ways to make this happen. And as you said, with those Ornn upgrades closing in, when you get those, the gold lead somewhat starts to lie to you a little bit. And if they can actually prevent this soul, I do think EG have a chance in the game. But if you give that up, it's probably lights out.
Yeah, the clock is ticking. You've got 106 seconds, another Vitality quick show up, and that's, ooh, that could have almost been the bait. That was almost a chance at catching out IgNar there. Doesn't have flash, and that just maybe could have been something. It's going to be cleared out, and here we go. 90 seconds till the summons up. 90 seconds until FlyQuest could have Infernal Soul, and I'm not sure EG can hit the power spikes they need to. It's not going to be level 14 on Kumo, so you're not going to have the Ornn upgrades for that climactic fight, almost certainly. Bang is not going to have Infinity Edge done, and you're on 2 items for Azir. That's quite good, but there's not going to be much else coming through. Going to have probably final recalls coming in. PowerOfEvil is going to need his mana refresh. He's going to need those pieces of Trinity Force pretty soon. And we're going to slowly tick down to that point where that fight is going to mean so much. If EG can't fight it at all, that gold lead lies to in the other way, where it's even more than 5,000. They've got that extra power. But if EG can win that, then they buy that extra 5 minutes. That's enough to turn the corner.
I think it's all about the ultimate usage here for EG. They've got to use those playmaking abilities to change the course of the fight, because you are going to be outstatted. You are down in gold, so you've got to have a great Gragas ultimate. You've got to have the perfect MF ultimate, great disengage with Azir. These ultimates are going to win or lose you the fight, so it's all up to them to be able to execute. With PowerOfEvil on the flank here, has package, getting great poke down.
Has some poke, but then no, Solo is not part of this fight. He was in the bottom lane, clearing the wave, shoving it in, so he can't go for that one. Kumo's going to be summoned to the front line. This might be the engage. Has to flash away. Some poke from Azir, but a great ulti out of WildTurtle. Now, can they re-engage with that buff, with the extra damage he's got? Right now, it's EG forced away. A pillar buys more time. Summoner heals, forced to be burned, and the ulti from Yuumi does nothing. FlyQuest flex their muscles and push their opponents off the mid lane. They push them off the Dragon contest, and now this Infernal Drake is alive. Package burned. It's FlyQuest walking backwards. TP to re-engage or to rejoin this fight. Kumo has the ulti. Is it time for the fight? Jiizuke is interrupted, has to flash away from Solo. Ornn comes in, looks for the engage, looks for the fight, but the smite is going to be grabbed. It has to be there as it is claimed. PowerOfEvil, though, will be shut down. That is at least a kill on the board, but it's going to be traded back, no problem at all, as Solo gets one on the board. A second one goes in, as they're going to maybe catch Santorin, and Solo is going to get dropped, but it's still going to be the chase down. Here comes the rest of the damage. WildTurtle is free-firing, but Jiizuke answers back. Svenskeren and the Yuumi, the last two alive, trying to run away 2 versus 2. Can they find the damage? That's going to be Santorin walking in for the kill. And now Zeyzal, without boots, simply cannot get away. There is no escape. That is the ace for FlyQuest. They will stretch the gold lead. They've got the soul. The T1 swag comes in, and FlyQuest are poised to make it to the finals.
FlyQuest may have just won the final fight they needed to get them over the hump, to get them to that grand finals against Cloud9. I talked about how the engage had to be perfect for EG, about how the execution needed to be on point, and it just wasn't. It started off way before this with a failed knockup coming through from Kumo. He tried to look for the stun, he missed it, and they got chased down, poked out before the fight even began. Look at the health bars on EG. Svenskeren is at 20% when the fight finally breaks out. Kumo was already very low and is on this solo trip trying to steal away the soul from the enemy jungle, which is just really not going to be able to happen. So credit to EG for fighting back, for grabbing some kills in this fight to try to get some gold in their pockets, but it's just too little too late. You had to be perfect in this fight, and you were not, and now your opponents have the Infernal Soul. They have a massive gold lead, and they have everything they need to secure the first finals for this organization ever.
It's beautiful stuff right there. I love the automated one. That's the ace one coming up. It's the T1 swag. I like it. And now FlyQuest poised to make it a 3-1 victory in the championship qualifier to battle Cloud9 tomorrow for their first ever, I should say FlyQuest's first ever title, not only their first final, but of course would be the title as well. C9 waiting in the wings to see if they can close one out, but for now we stay focused on FlyQuest versus EG. Baron is on the map. Infernal Soul makes the fights easy. The gold lead remains 6,000, and now they have begun it. Santorin's tanking the front line, WildTurtle free-firing behind him. And you can see EG can't even walk into their own jungle. Svenskeren's gonna go for the solo mission. Is there someone waiting in the wings? Someone in the brush? Is there someone inside the pit? Yes, there is. Look how low Baron is. He's got to try for the attempt. Ults over the wall, and they're gonna pull back. They're gonna say, hey, let's not risk the small 2% chance that he steals away the Baron. Little do they know, Smite wasn't even available to be cast, but they will let it regen back up, and they'll play for a more standard siege.
It's smart. There's no reason to risk it. You're in full control right now, and Svenskeren may just get caught out. Has to back it up, but if you're on EG, you are now just praying for the Jiizuke 1v9. They cannot wait for a death cap to actually Ornn upgrade. They've got to get him as much power as possible right now, because they feel like this game is so close to ending. If your opponents get Baron, the game is just done. So he finishes the Void Staff, TP's back in, gets the upgrade on the Ludens, which isn't that effective, but at least it's some extra gold in your pockets. And there's nothing else for him to upgrade right now, because no one has the completed items. No one has the gold. Bang doesn't have his IE done, and they can't afford to wait. So it's going to be up to EG to try to make something happen. Good little disengage there.
Yeah, it's a crucial ultimate missing. I do want to see when EG can pull the trigger, because it's not like the Infernal Soul ever times out. The lead is the lead. The state doesn't get better for them passively outside of, I guess, trading farm looks a little bit better over time if you're really trying to wait for IE to be done, if you're really trying to wait for a Zhonya's upgrade for Svenskeren. Maybe you do really want to wait if you can hold on to a holding pattern. It just feels a little scary to let FlyQuest continue to play around the map, because I feel like the passive state of the game is FlyQuest takes ward control and keeps setting up Baron baits, and that feels like a concern.
It is, but I think
under a bit of fire. Yeah,
I think Yuumi can help you to check brushes. You know, when you're looking for the visions, you attach the jungler, you check the brushes with the Q. That can maybe give you some access to try to delay them. Anything you go for, I think, is a long shot. But when you're in a situation like this, I think you must play around your strong player. You basically have to say, all right, Jiizuke, what do you need? And if Jiizuke is saying, wait for 6 items, then that's what you're going to do. If Jiizuke is saying, fight now, then that's what you're going to do. Because the Azir really is your only shot. but it does seem hard to fight when you look at the marksman items, right? Well, I just finished now, but prior to that, I think it was just untenable to actually think, you know, you can actually go in against Turtle, who was an item and a half almost ahead at that point. Now that Bang has IE, once that is upgraded by the Ornn, at least he is at a reasonable state of power, and you start to think, hey, maybe there's that miracle fight where everything can work out, but it's still going to be incredibly hard, and likely any sort of comeback would have to involve an Elder Dragon take. You know, if you're EG and you can get the Elder Dragon, then at least, yes, it's not a buff that lasts forever like the Soul, but at least you have an incredible amount of power during that duration, which could then maybe springboard you to a Baron or a teamfight win or something where you can pick up a bunch of towers and get some gold, because they haven't even cracked the first tower of the game.
That's true. It's a rough one. Evil Geniuses have kills and nothing else. You can take the silver lining and say, well, look, if we get a kill, outer turret's easy to claim. The gold's right there next to us on our side of the map. So, you know, it's a possibility, but it's certainly been a rough one. Don't get me wrong. I'm not really taking the optimistic look here. A little bit of slow coming down. EG walking up to mid lane. Jiizuke could get a couple autos here. And honestly, it's good DPS. Svenskeren going to try to clear a ward, but PowerOfEvil shows up, and that is at least one turret on the board. That is 500 gold put back in the pockets of Evil Geniuses, and, you know, it's 10% of the gold lead. It's at least something coming back over as Santorin can walk up, the whole squad clear out the wave. Is there a play? Kumo walks in, gets CC'd a ton, though, and does that mean the fight starts? IgNar drops low, they can't kill him, flashes away, and they might catch Svenskeren. He flashes out to stay alive. Now Solo knocked up, but Kumo is running out of health. He's alone, has to take the heal, has to run away. Is there a re-engage on Solo? They're going to try, but here comes the package. Ulti does nothing. PowerOfEvil gets back away, and bullet time hits absolutely nobody. And that's one on the board for WildTurtle. Make it 2, make it 3 already picked up. 1 back for Jiizuke, but it's not going to be enough. Throw out all the emotes. Throw out all of Evil Geniuses. FlyQuest win the fight. They take the Bud Light Ace, and they don't need neutrals. They need the Nexus. A 3-1 lead in their sights for the first ever LCS final. And no, they turn it around again. They say, after all, it is the Dragon.
Like you said, they do need the neutrals. They're going to wait. They're going to go over to the Elder Dragon. They'll grab that, secure it. Why not? Grab the Elder, take the Baron, make it that almost 100% chance to win this game. And maybe they could have ended it. Probably not, because the tier 2 is still there, but damn, FlyQuest fully committing, piling in onto Jiizuke to take him down in what was a very chaotic fight. It did feel like EG had their moments where maybe it was going to be able to happen, but everyone stacking on top of Jiizuke, taking him down, PowerOfEvil packaging on him, Solo flashing in on him, and everyone knew that it was all about Jiizuke, and they just weren't able to keep him alive on the side of EG.
And so FlyQuest take the quick play. They say, all right, let's grab the Dragon, let's reset, let's be healthy, and re-itemized and on the map, ready to go for the Baron pickup as well. They stole the blue. They're going to look for the red. They can't get that one, though. The Scars Bloom sees that Bang has taken it, but it's right back onto the Baron. There is nothing for Evil Geniuses to claim, and they have to just sit and wait, and then wave clear, and then hide. Double global buffs on FlyQuest with the Elder Dragon for a minute and a half. The Baron on for 3. This is going to be a tough one.
They are in full control, really. Almost impossible to think how EG can scrape their way out of this one now with Baron plus Elder plus Soul on your opponents who also have a 10,000 gold lead. That is just a ludicrously hard hold for EG here, where almost any poke that hits you is going to get you very, very low. One Corki rocket with the true damage burn from Elder plus the proc from that Infernal Soul alone is going to be really a devastating amount of damage for champions like Jiizuke, who don't really have much sustain in the tank. It's going to be so much on the back of Zeyzal, who's got to keep everyone alive somehow.
And here we go. Top lane siege happening. There's that poke. That was a Corki rocket, and it did about 20% of Svenskeren's health bar. Bot going to be cleared away. There we go. The 1v2 push. PowerOfEvil claims turret number 5. And there's one in the mid lane, but guess what? The wave is coming, and EG have to play safely. I think they have to just bleed that 2,000 gold at least and wait the next 30 seconds for Elder Dragon to time out. Maybe you re-engage once Elder is gone, as FlyQuest continue to pad some money into their pockets. They're going to go ahead and knock down this wave. EG able to defend that one. There's at least something. There's, you know, those little silver linings where the base is not dead yet, but this is so very nearly over. Turtle's got his big shields. he's going to be so hard to assassinate.
He's also got Stopwatch, which is going to make it even harder for a potential dive to go on him. And Solo just pushing up here. EG have to pick their moment, but you make one mistake,
maybe now.
It's going to be over.
Elder Dragon times out. They find the knockup. They can try to chase down Solo, but he's able to walk away all the same. Burning the ulti for the move speed. Mid taken over. That turret's gone, and PoE still safe to push down the top side as well. That was 2 ults burned, and it meant nothing for Evil Geniuses. They, I guess, to knock down the mid lane wave. That inhibitor's not dead yet, but the turret top side certainly is. It's more and more of their base falling before their very eyes. As FlyQuest know, they've got what it takes to close out this series and come back from that catastrophe of Game 3. They're going to knock down the bottom turret. They're going to knock down the middle inhibitor. 9-1 of the turret score. 13,000 gold lead. Baron buff still on for almost a minute, and we might see them knock down even more. We'll see if the bot or top inhibitor can be taken as well as EG stay grouped up. They look to find some possible team fight. 30 seconds left from the Baron buff. They actually caught PowerOfEvil. That's a big shutdown. They caught into that one, and that might mean the re-engage. Bullet time over the top means almost nothing as IgNar puts up the shield. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but get the shutdown to the Corki. That's not too bad, all things considered, as they keep the defense going 4 versus 4. Bottom inhibitor already gone. We'll see if they can walk towards the top side. Baron buff ending in 15 seconds. Minus Kumo, minus PowerOfEvil is a power shift in EG's favor, and it will mean FlyQuest playing a bit more defensively. Wave clear, but honestly, stopping down. It's a bit of a ceasefire, and it's time for EG to grab a little bit of gold.
FlyQuest have got a lot of gold after that push there too. So while EG can collect some from these supers that are pushing into the base, you can see FlyQuest are going to reset, buy even more items, prepare for the potential next Elder that is going to be spawning in a minute or two here. So this is the kind of move you've got to go for if you are EG, just dashing forward, taking down PowerOfEvil. You must commit to one side and try to fight your way out of that. You cannot defend on all sides at the same time when you're this far behind. So at the very least, they keep that third inhibitor alive, and that is very key because it goes from a difference of 1 super minion spawning in 2 lanes, total of 2 per wave, to 6 if they lose that third and final inhibitor, which makes it almost impossible to ever leave your base. And it's going to, again, come down to this Elder Dragon. Can EG get out there? Can they make something happen? Will be incredibly hard, as you have all these luxury items even coming in on the other side. You have the GA completed on 2 members of FlyQuest. You have the Rage Pot coming through, a Stopwatch on IgNar, all these things to keep them alive that are going to give them extra punch in that one big fight.
Okay, this could be the last hurrah. There is a minute left on the Elder Dragon spawn. There is a chance FlyQuest play for the neutrals yet again. Although I don't know if they really want to wait for items to keep coming through. They are mostly done being able to purchase items, of course. You're mentioning the luxuries come through. The GA is in there to help. Once again, they can try for Soul. This time he has to burn the flash to get away. That is a summoner at least taken down, as Zeyzal can wait for his cooldowns to come back. Mid lane turret summoned by the Azir to buy a bit more time here as well. But PoE ready to push to the top side, ready to say, okay, what does my team see? What can we play around? All right, it's not going to be a play top side. It's going to be Svenskeren clearing it away. Not going for the inhibitor just yet. And it looks like with 15 seconds to go until the Elder Dragon spawns, FlyQuest play for that.
PowerOfEvil also has his teleport, so he's actually going back to base for double pink wards. They want to make sure that they have all the boxes checked. They have no possible TP flank wards coming out from EG or anything like that to maybe scrape their way back into the game. EG are grouped 5 mid. They're trying to push out and get control here so that they can then potentially get access to this area, and Kumo's going in.
It's a knock, ulti spent. Here comes the team fight. It's a little bit of CC, but isn't enough damage. WildTurtle able to free far in the back line's gonna find a lot right there, and WildTurtle gets the kill on a Svenskeren. Here comes the next one. It's a 4v5. EG forced to turn, tail, and run, and that means map control for FlyQuest. Second Elder Dragon gonna be claimed if they want it. They're gonna send Santorin, they're gonna send Turtle, they're gonna send Solo. That will be picked up. 25 seconds till Baron comes up as well. They can once again go for double buffs. They can always turn and go for the Nexus turrets as well. Right now it's the neutral. Right now it's helping to really make sure there's no road back in.
They are trying to really make it certain, but the longer the game goes, the longer you keep waiting for these extra things, you are giving your opponents more time to slowly catch back up. Jiizuke is getting a ton of gold here and does have his death cap, is sitting very, very strong. It's still that 1 in a million comeback, but they're going to have to make it attempt at it. Oh my god, Jiizuke just lost half his health from 1 rocket, I think that was? Or maybe a sniper Q, I'm not even sure, but they are going to catch FlyQuest over at this Baron. The problem is the bot lane is pushing in, Kumo is already TP'd, so they just have to engage immediately.
Jiizuke could go for it as well if he needed to. They're going to try for some fights. Nice damage. IgNar's down below half HP. Mid lane going to be cleared away by EG. But again, the bot lane wave is pushing from the dead inhibitor. EG cannot stay at a standstill or the game will end without them. Meaning they do have to walk back. They have to catch the heals. They have to catch the plays. And they need to run back to their side of the map. The only guy with TP is Jiizuke. And he isn't going back to the base yet. But the inhibitor turret, rather the Nexus turret, will die if they don't wave clear. Finally the ping comes down. Finally Jiizuke turns around to go for that one. And FlyQuest know once they see the Azir, they can force the TP and start up on Baron.
They are going to look for this Baron. They're immediately on it. They don't want to give Jiizuke much time. So Jiizuke does have his teleport, but I don't think they even have enough time now. I think this is just going to be dead before you get there. So they're going to have to make the call to give up the Baron. It did at least buy them time for some inhibs to respawn. And the Elder has less than a minute left on it. So at this point, it's again, just keep trying to wait it out. If you're EG, you know, if you can wait out the 50 seconds on the Elder buff, then maybe you can look for some type of a play. And they do have incredible wave clear with this Azir, who is building towards that Leandries. That will be the last item. Bang closing in on a full build here too. So they're just going to keep trying to delay 30 seconds until you want to look for any sort of fight.
Would have liked to see Motor Reminder on Bang. Would have been a great damage multiplier. One he already has Executioners, but we're going to look for the team fight. Jiizuke almost full build as well. Inhibitors dropping on all sides. Go for the CC. PoE has to burn the flash, but he gets away from the engage tools. Where does the fight go from here? It's a flash down, but an ulti down, and one that EG needs. And here we go. The full court press. The champions are all alive. Elder Dragon for 10 seconds. Baron for 2 minutes. This is the time EG must fight. Big ult comes out from Turtle. Kumo has to burn the stopwatch, and Solo's in the back line trying to fight up against Bang, but can't find the crowd control. The Nexus, though, is open, and here comes the push. That's the Nexus falling. That's the best of 5 going to FlyQuest in their first ever LCS final.
What an incredible year for FlyQuest. They have absolutely grown so much as a team from where they started to where they are ending up, all the way in the grand finals against FlyQuest, or rather against C9.
Against Cloud9.
Yeah, it's just incredible run. And even just the improvement from last time they played against EG. They were coming into playoffs and looking like they were really on a downturn. They get knocked out by EG in a 3-1 series. Here, a couple of weeks later, they are the ones dominating in 3 out of 4 games. 3-1 score the other way around. And FlyQuest is just having a monumental year with the Tree Quest, with Go Green Initiative, doing great things there. And the team is performing so damn well. It is really incredible to see just how good they have gotten and how many teams they are placing above that were expected to be way better than these guys. They're above TSM, they're above EG, they're above Liquid, they're above all these teams that were favored above them, yet here they are, one of the last 2 teams remaining.
They've got one last team to prove they are better than Cloud9. They have yet to play in the playoffs. They had a choice. Cena had a choice between them and 100 Thieves way back when the first round they said, no. We're going to dodge FlyQuest. We'll take Thieves. It was the right choice. They took them down. But FlyQuest have pulled all the way back, getting revenge over evil geniuses, and now they've got that chance to face Cloud9. And I'm not saying they're favored, but they are playing better than they have for the most of the year. This is definitively at least the number 2 team. I'm excited to see that best of 5 tomorrow. FlyQuest versus Cloud9 is gonna be an exciting match. We have already shown that C9 can bleed. They dropped a game to TSM in the regular season. They didn't get that far. They dropped a game to evil geniuses in the playoffs, and EG have not gotten this far. So if FlyQuest are better than both those teams and have shown that they are, this could be a very exciting series ahead of us for tomorrow. Now, we are taking one more commercial break, but on the other side, we hear from FlyQuest on making it to their first LCS final.
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk, where FlyQuest has done it. They have successfully taken that very first best-of-5 series score between themselves and EG and flipped it right around. 3-1 the other direction this time in the championship qualifier. It will be FlyQuest who meets Cloud9 tomorrow. Mark, initial reactions to the way they pulled it off?
It's crazy to me. This is FlyQuest in a finals. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want to flame them or anything, but there was a period of time where they were seen almost a little bit like a joke, and they've had this incredible turnaround of their entire organization. They've had great branding this whole split, tree quest popping off, bringing in new fans all over the place, and they timed that perfectly with their best finish so far already, and they still have a chance to actually grab the title. It's so impressive.
In this game from Blue Side, the first time we saw it there, Jeff, but I kind of want to keep going on this trend that Mark's going on. Historically, this is a big moment for this org.
I completely agree. The closest they've been before was when they had C9 Junior back in 2017 with the high squad. I mean, I guess C9 Senior. I had the wrong name.
Right, there you go.
But they fell so short. Like, it never really felt like they'd make the finals back then when they ended up in the third place match. And also the way in which they just did it. EG was pretty definitively the number 2 team up until this point, and FlyQuest beat them soundly in the 3 wins of the 4 games that they played. So they completely deserve to be in finals as well. That's the extra element, because before the season, you're thinking, hey, FlyQuest in finals is unthinkable, but even the way they did it is maybe even more surprising, because you're thinking this other world where they'd be in finals is like, well, maybe there were some like really sloppy games and they just were the first ones to pick this power pick and no one else really adjusted to it. But no, they just kind of grinded teams out and beat them because they were better.
Yeah, probably. It's one thing to look at FlyQuest historically and say it's a big moment for the org. But then if you just isolate playoffs, again, this run from losing your first best of 5 to winning the next 3 straight, and the one that you have to qualify through is the team you dropped to begin with. So what a full circle for this squad.
Yeah, and it was looking really doomed because, you know, the end of the regular season, that's when they started kind of like teetering and their success started going down. It's like, dude, you're entering in playoffs. Like, this is the time where you need to be playing your best. And it was actually their worst performances in their week 8 and week 9. So once they lost to EG in the first round, it was like, well, I guess this is kind of it for them. But no, they have actually been growing stronger and stronger and figuring out like their drafts more properly, how to play better. And they're kind of like figuring out their, like, I know we talk about team identity a lot, but they have a really solid one that they can rinse and repeat every single game now.
Yeah, let's hone in on that a little bit more. Mark, help me with some more specifics on what exactly has changed with this FlyQuest squad over the last 3 weeks that they can walk into an LCS final.
The biggest thing for me is they've become an incredible early game team. Like, if you go back and look at how many early games they've won in the postseason, I think they've only dropped 1 to TSM, 1 to EG, or maybe 2 to EG, and that's about it. So, you know, over the course of now 17-ish games, that's a pretty incredible thing to be able to pull off. That means you're a really, really solid early game team. I think you give Solo a lot of credit for shoring up top lane. They no longer have any exploitable lanes anywhere. You're going to actually need to make plays to get those advantages. And then Santorin is so good in the jungle. He's so good about finding the right place to be. And even if he's not killing you, he's grabbing out massive jungle leads, like which kind of happened this game with the blue buff invade start, and then he transitions it down to bot side.
You talk early game leads for this FlyQuest squad, and no doubt they have found them, but there is one other team remaining in competition that I feel might be able to stack up against them in the early game. We'll get to that in just a bit, but before we do, I do want to hear from one of the players themselves on this victorious FlyQuest squad. We are going to hand things over to the Tigress, who's standing by with an interview with Solo.
Thank you very much, Dash. After a tremendous performance from FlyQuest earning their spot in the finals, we have to get some words from the latest addition, Solo. Because thing is, you joined this team merely weeks before playoffs took place. So describe to me what a whirlwind of an experience this has been for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy. At the beginning of this year, I didn't have like many expectations for even playing LCS or even anything, because I didn't get any offers for like LCS or Academy, and I was trying to get on like a 6-man or any type of coaching role, and nothing was happening until Nick Fan and FlyQuest came to me about, helping them out, and then it just kind of, through circumstance, ended up me being able to play for them and doing well.
And clearly, your impact has been remarkable. Jiizuke talked about it in an interview after the first series. But overall, there has been a lot of team improvement. You just reversed the result against the squad that defeated you merely 14 days ago. So what are some of the overall team changes that you have noticed since your addition?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's played really well, since the start of the playoffs. I think everyone turned it up and everyone was just so much more engaged in, draft discussions, pregame practice. And it just made it a lot easier for us to come into every series with like a really good game plan and perform really well and, use our strengths and find ways to kind of play off of that.
Well, let's talk about that game plan a bit. Specifically looking at games 3 and 4, the early game decisions had a heavy impact on the outcome, specifically with jungle pathing. How did that impact your experience in the solo lane?
Yeah, I mean, it looked really good. I mean, we're killing their bot lane. Yeah, I mean, everyone's been just playing really well, and especially, helping out, talking to Lucas about what kind of jungle pass we want to do. And he's been super good about getting ganks off. His early game has been like super crazy good. I think we've been able to just get a lot of early pressure in almost all of our games, which has been really nice because then it's kind of smooth sailing. Since we're already like a very, I think we're a very good like mid to late game team, a really good team fighting and really good working together. So as soon as we get our early game, it looks really good for us.
In addition to that team identity in the mid to late game, a lot of the individual players on FlyQuest have distinguished identities, whether you're looking at the engage potential from IgNar or the control mage carry potential of PowerOfEvil. So how would you, looking at your own individual performance, whether it be your role in this team or just your play style, how would you describe yourself in the squad?
I don't know. I'm just trying to do trying to be solid for them, be able to play any of the matchups, be able to play, pick early in draft if I need to, be weak side, strong side, try and funnel ideas during the game of ways to win and come back. So just trying to be all around person to kind of fill in any gaps that we have during the game or during that week. So just kind of be kind of a glue guy in a way.
And looking at your next opponent, you can't afford any gaps. And the fact is, since you joined late, you haven't faced this Cloud9 squad on stage yet. So what are your thoughts going into this finals matchup, specifically against Licorice as your laner?
I mean, they're really good. I mean, there's no fool in that. I mean, they're a very good team. This is definitely going to be our toughest match. But, we only have to win 3 games. So, we're going to go out there and give it all we got. And I think, we've got a good chance. I think they haven't been, tested very hard throughout this split. So I think, we're going to put up a fight and make them earn it.
All right, well, you all heard it from Solo here first. It's only 3 winning games between them and a championship title, but a strong Cloud9 on the opposite end wanting to prevent that from happening. Congratulations again to you and the rest of the squad for making it into the finals.
Thank you.
But for more on this match, let's send it back to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, the Tigress. The self-proclaimed glue guy up there in the top lane is Solo. I would comment that he plays that role fantastically. But if you are looking more for the role of player of the series, you look no further than the mid lane this time around. It was PowerOfEvil who came up big for the squad. Jat?
PowerOfEvil, because I think some of the stuff Solo talked about with how Santorin was playing in these early games, PoE was kind of the beneficiary of a lot of that, which is why this was a difficult vote for all of us. But the way he can just carry so many of these mid and late game team fights, how he's consistently doing just so much damage, just so much more than any of the other mid laners in the LCS, just put him over the top for me in voting for player of the series.
For me also, he does a great job of controlling the enemy mid laners for the most part. I mean, yeah, Jiizuke had the one good game 3, but in the times that they've matched up over, the 2 series that they've played, he's done a great job of stopping him. He stopped Golden Glue. Bjergsen did not pop off that insanely hard. PowerOfEvil is so good about having his own playstyle and kind of making you play his way. We didn't see 1-3-1 champs. It was Jiizuke taking the Azir away and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably. I think that's a huge point, actually. The way that PowerOfEvil can, in essence, maybe warp matchups or make it so that he invalidates the play of the other mid laner, and specifically looking at what the expectation was for Jiizuke today and his inability to fulfill that, I kind of want to roll this conversation forward to PowerOfEvil's next matchup being Niski, a guy who seems to get wherever he wants to go on the map. If he decides he wants to be there, he'll find a way to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I think one big thing PoE has is, like, if you are not playing at a higher level than him, he's always going to be able to deal with you really well, especially, like, his champion pool has, like, grown a lot. And even, like, I know everyone kind of plays Azir, but his improvement on the champion has been really big, especially in playoffs. It started to get banned now because he's, like, actually making plays with it, and he's, like, really aggressive in lane with it. So I don't want to stop hyping up PoE because I think he did really good this series. But against Niski, it's going to be a lot different of a kind of animal because Niski is much more aggressive than Jiizuke and a lot more accurate with his plays. So if PoE wants to control him and be able to have that kind of style he has, he's actually going to have to be performing like nonstop this entire series. Like the game 3 they had, he can't have that game against Cloud9.
I feel like the whole of FlyQuest is going to be quite challenged with their next game coming, or next series coming up tomorrow. I think that's a natural transition for us to take one more look at the bracket and the way the postseason has broken down as of yet. We have 2 teams remaining alive in this one, and it's the 1 seed in Cloud9 who have yet to drop a series against FlyQuest, who have played more games than any in the postseason and have battled their way back to the top. Of course, that does mean we bid adieu to Evil Geniuses, who as well had a very impressive run for a young org here, where expectations were not 3rd place or top 3.
Expectations of the public wasn't, but actually, credit to EG for calling their shot. Preseason interviews of Zeyzal and Svenskeren thinking that they were about the 3rd best team in the LCS. Hey, damn, they nailed it. They got that right. Definitely stuff they're going to want to work on. I think finding ways to either help Kumo out or have him improve directly will go far. And I also think having Jiizuke have a bit more variety in his playstyle, because I thought they didn't really have any options other than to just play Jiizuke's game. And I think FlyQuest exploited that.
Let's transition then back to the 2 teams that remain, and that's Cloud9, FlyQuest. And I actually want to start where Latigris left off, which was the idea that Solo actually hasn't played a game against this version of Cloud9, coming in so late into the split. He's dodged them the whole way. So there's some uncertainty to this matchup.
Well, I do know that they scrimmed a little bit. I have heard that FlyQuest has actually been doing really good in scrims. Okay. Really good in air quotes, I think, reflective of what you can expect to do against C9. But I think Solo has experience versus FLICKR over the course of their careers, even going all the way back to like Gold Coin United versus E United days. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but in the Challenger series, and they were duking it out when they were both up and coming players, and now here they are in the finals. So he has experience versus FLICKR, but to your point, this is a different beast in C9 with how well they all work together. Niski randomly showing up top lane, sacking waves to be there for skirmishes breaking out. You never know who's going to show up to these fights.
Yeah,
but also not playing against the same picks, right? Like, we haven't seen a Calista top outside of, like, Cloud9's this playoffs, I think.
Hecarim.
And the Hecarim into Aatrox. So, like, some of the blind picks Solo's been playing, which are totally fine blind picks. Against Cloud9, it's kind of like, I mean, you sure you want to blind pick that right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so, well, go ahead, Jet.
Yeah, so I agree in terms of let's look at this matchup on paper, and you're not going to find a soul that'll say FlyQuest will win this one because solos look great. Like, Solo has looked great, but you need more than that to beat Cloud9. They are 23-2 coming into this game, which if they sweep the finals, they will have the highest win percentage in LCS history. But in terms of like sports uncertainty, I am happy they haven't played yet. I'm really happy that C9 opted not to choose FlyQuest. There's clearly an element there that they didn't want to risk it. And then you also have the fact that FlyQuest has been able to make it up through the losers bracket. So while 23-2 seems unbeatable, 73-9 seemed unbeatable for the Warriors, 18-0 seemed unbeatable for the Patriots, and both those teams lost in the finals.
Mm-hmm. You just like skipped over all the league equivalents, like Immortals going 17-1 and then falling short. But Mark, let's continue on with this kind of this on paper discussion, because as Jack just said, if I put all of these lanes side by side, you're putting a check mark in every single Cloud9 category the whole way down. So where, if anywhere, is the solution for FlyQuest? Where are those intangibles that they can reach for?
I liked what I saw out of the last game they just played, where they were able to find a lot of kills on bot lane with these kind of like repeat ganks and just being a little bit annoying and sticky around the bot lane. And I think that's actually not a bad place to potentially look for something that happened for against C9, excuse me, just because Vulcan, the one game that we saw them lose in the regular season, he didn't have a great game. He was playing Leona. There was also a Shen in the top lane, which was a little weird, but they were able to win skirmishes that oftentimes have Vulcan involved in them. So IgNar's a big playmaker. He's got a cool champion pool. Santorin is really good about finding ganks. I'm thinking that might be the best one to look for, but it's hard to kind of ignore the top side of the map when that's where C9 always seems to be.
All right, fair enough. Now, if we remove FlyQuest from the equation here and just talk about the weight of this finals for Cloud9, I think it's important to remind people how long it's been since this org has won the title. Yes, they've been there. They've been oh so close so many times in the last 5 years, but fallen short. So to recapture that title as an organization, but to do it with a roster of players that have never won an LCS title here in North America. I mean, how huge that would be, but also how much pressure, Jat, they're facing.
I agree. I think even though it feels like superstition is the only thing stopping C9 from winning, there is going to be an added element of pressure when they come that close. What I'll say, though, is that they've stepped up to pressure at multiple points throughout the split. There's pressure that they get upset in the first round or in the semifinals, and they've been able to overcome that. So I really do think that this Cloud9 team is primed to win. They've done everything to lead up to this point properly, and it's just a matter of not having a bad day at this point.
It's weird to me though, like how favored C9 is, but when you look at like individual competitions in North America so far, they have none. You know, they haven't won one, whereas Turtle has won, Santorin has won. It's been fairly removed for a lot of these guys, but you know, even IgNar and PoE have had a lot of international success that hasn't, other than maybe Sven, been rivaled by most people on this roster. So there is this weird feeling where, like, yeah, despite how big of a favorite C9 is, they're also the ones who have more to prove in that regard, where they haven't won North America yet.
There's a definite element of nothing to lose for the side of FlyQuest. Probably Cloud9's dropped 2 games this entire split, one in the regular season, one in the post. They have to lose 3 in order to lose a best of 5. So again, I just think it's important to drill this narrative of how lopsided the matchup is expected to be.
I thought you were going to ask me, how does FlyQuest win?
No.
I was like, I can't.
You're the right person to go to for that. I'm not going to make you talk about that, but I just want to keep setting up this David and Goliath story.
Yeah, no, this is a huge one, specifically because C9 is not just like dominating in a I'm going to grind out the game, but they're having new ways of winning where sometimes they have team fights, sometimes they have global, sometimes they just smash the early game and close it super fast. But the thing is, they're all consistent in all the ways they win, where it's like they have very good fundamentals. So there's not like there's like little things in the armor where you can like stab through. So it's very difficult to beat them. I think FlyQuest has a really solid foundation for early game. I think Mark was talking about how they were able to punish the MF Yuumi bot lane. Maybe they could figure that out with some other things. But I think the one like kind of only issue that Cloud9 has is their 2 losses are games where they have weaker teamfight comps and they opt into teamfights. So if FlyQuest can do some little, like mesmerizing trick to make them fight them, they have a chance.
Well, I want to jump in here because as it seems the results are expected, we know that expectations are meant to be broken. So it's on FlyQuest to show up on the day and show us what they've got. They've surprised all postseason long. Now, after the championship bout tomorrow, make sure to stick around for the finals after party on watch.lalesports.com, where Y2K will be DJing a banger of a set along the visual stylings of the Sushi Dragon. You will not want to miss it. I will definitely be there. That, of course, is going to do it for us here. So now on behalf of myself, the casters, the entire remote broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, where we'll crown a new LCS champion. Make sure you go wash your hands and stay healthy, everyone. It has been quite a wild ride here in the at-home broadcast, but that's where, again, I want to extend a gracious thank you to all of you for sticking around with us. We hope that tomorrow's series will impress. Good night. We'll see you then.
So close I can taste. No quick silver sash. He is down. He is shut down.
What is he doing?